Welcome everyone to our community event, Power of Language in Coaching. We have immense pleasure of hosting our guest speaker, Ridhima Dua. Hi, Ridhima, if you can be with us. Ridhima is the first and only woman in India to be certified as the new code NLP coach and trainer by ITES, London. Is that right, Ridhima? Yeah. It is such an amazing, yeah, let's have a big round of applause for a great achiever, Ridhima, between us. Ridhima recently won the women leadership. I mean, can you tell me which was that the reward, the award that you got?
There was Women Leadership Awards, which happened recently. So it was like in continuation. We won one in December, again one in January in leadership.
Awesome. So it's really an amazing pleasure. So with that, I would like to pass it over to Ridhima. Ridhima, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And a very big thank you to the entire community to accept the invite and be here from your busy day and investing your hour and a half with this kind of a topic, which is quite interesting. And I was discussing with Vinny that we train people for almost 6 months. So I'm not sure that whether it is a teaching or basically it's a conversational. And before that, again, a big thank you to the community as well as Vineet, Dipti, the entire team at ScaleUp. And what a beautiful honor and pleasure to meet all of you individuals. And I'm sure you're doing wonderful in all your areas which you're doing. And I think one of the person was discussing about Milan. That's one of the space where one of my friends coaches. So it's interesting to hear that. Amazing. Thank you so much. So a little, let's get into it. Before my introduction, a little more, I would like to know from all of you. I think, can I have raise hands from all of you, and can I see you on the gallery? I'll go back to that. Yeah, that is better. So all of you are into coaching, agile coaching, and am I correct? Most of you? Most of you, could you just raise your hands? Let me know. Fantastic. Your electronic hands is also fine. Great. Thank you, Rajeshi. Thank you, Ajinkya. Thank you, Kiran, Prajit. Thank you so much, Palak. I hope that all is well there with the lovely cold and a beautiful cap which you're wearing. Thank you, Kiran, Archana, Sudeep. Thank you. Lovely. Great. And next question to all of you. How many of you also know Neuro Linguistic Programming? Because I come from a background of linguistic itself. So have you attended any work around linguistics? Yes, Vineet, yes, of course. Yeah, Ajinkya?
Very little, yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. I also know very little. So we both are on the same page.
So humble, yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, so hi, Milind, I see you. Thank you so much for switching on your video.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would really appreciate all of you to switch on your videos because I would like to have a conversational coaching discussion, which you definitely do in Agile coaching. It would be great if you all can switch on your video and we discuss a lot about linguistics and patterns. Thank you, Vinayak, and thank you, Chaitanya, Anandan, and thank you, Kiran, for switching on. Lovely. Beautiful to see Swati as well. Praveen, great. Lovely conversations we're going to have. So there are a couple of people who know about coaching. Are there people who are very new into coaching as well? Is that also a combination which we have, Vinny? Okay. All right. Okay. You can be, you can let me know if you are new or if you have been really doing coaching from a very long time. You can also message me on the chat so that I can know you. And as well as I would like to drive the discussion based on what kind of people we have here, because the kind of knowledge which I come from is Dr. John Grinders, and it's him who has given so much of plethora of knowledge. A little background about myself, and then we directly move into the process of linguistics. Linguistics means language and language patterns in coaching. And please feel free to ask any questions or engage with me as much as we would be doing a conversational process. And I would be happy to ask, I'd be happy to have your questions and challenge me around, this is not going to work. Tell me that. challenge me, oh, this question doesn't work, or this doesn't work, I don't understand that. I like those kind of challenges. That's the kind of work which I come through from. So a little background, all of you from my side, to all of you to have a little introduction. I'm Ridhima. You have already seen maybe a little profile of mine. And yes, I've become the only New Code trainer who is a mentor and a satellite partner with Dr. John Grinder, Michael Carroll, and Carmen Bostic. When I say that, what I mean is that we host the international trainings of Dr. John in India, and that happens only with us in India. So that's something which we do. I was also the other side. Well, I think I'm still the other side, where I had no idea of coaching. And I started my journey with the process of doing practitioners and trainers. And there was a time in my life in 2016 where I did practitioners. All of that was done in 2012-13, and I was doing fantastic trainings in India. However, I was feeling that there is still a lot to be done. And I find out about Dr. John, and that's the way the journey started. So from 2018, I'm in touch with Dr. John. When I say I'm in touch, like a regular conversations which keep happening, and there's a lot which keep happening. So I became the mentor with the processes. And here are some of my pictures, which doesn't look like mine. Maybe I look very different now. That's also a part of evolution, isn't it? Right? So that's quite transformative. This is 2018, where I was a little nervous, which I see already on my face, and 2019, where we went into more deeper with Michael Carroll, etc. This is Dr. John Grinder, whom I will keep referring to just to have face to the name. And he was appreciating the satellite of India, that's Michael Carroll, and Dr. John Grinder appreciating our work in India. And that's Carmen Bostic, Michael Carroll's and John Grinder's partner, and John Grinder's wife as well. And that's a global training which I was delivering. So that's a little about myself, to what we do and how we do, basically. There are multiple things which I will keep sharing. That was a little just to tell you the name, the face of the name to whom I'm talking about. Let's get into it a little more for what the agenda for us today is. So I would like to share one of the very small story with all of you before I get into the agenda. And that is about two different cases. All of you come from coaching, right? And whenever any person comes to you, any kind of a team comes to you, and a team comes to you saying that, you know what, there is a big problem there, and the people are not listening, they're just not being able to comprehend, they're just not being able to understand. I think the performance is dropping, the productivity is not going the way it has to go. We really need to pull up the socks and do something. Have you heard such kind of conversations before? Multiple times as coaches, and that's a kind of maybe a kind of scenarios which comes to you several times, Hiren. Yeah, interesting. So you heard something from my side, all of you. Let's begin. The process which I use is I begin before I begin. So I've already begun. So if you have heard something right now from my side, I repeat what I am saying. Okay? All right? I'm repeating what I'm saying, and I want you all to question me one question which comes to your mind as a coach as we begin deeper into language patterns. I repeat what I am saying. Ready to have a conversational coaching with me and to learn more into language?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Dilip. So hear me out again, all of you. And the process is like this. Oh my God, the team is not doing very well. The productivity is going low. The team is not performing. All the time, there are some issues or the others, and we really need to buckle up.
Yes.
Yes, okay, you heard me. Nice. What kind of response would you like to give as a coach?
I would like to know more about this team.
You would like to know more about this team? Okay, that's one part. Thank you, Milind. Yes. Yes, Palak?
So I want to understand, Ridhima, what is the real challenge for you here?
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Thank you, Palak. You would like to understand the real challenge. Anyone else?
You did mention about multiple challenges. Probably look at, segregate it, probably see that which are the most critical one to address that.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay, so look at
Apart
something.
from
Yeah.
questions,
I want to know what is your expectation.
I would like to know what is your expectations. Okay, all right. Yes, Hiren. Thank you, Bridget.
yeah, apart from asking any questions, I first like to get in touch with them on the emotional plane, try to understand, try to see what kind of anxieties they have. Because I can
Mm-hmm.
see that they are kind of anxious about something,
Okay.
outworking.
Okay,
Try to
interesting.
understand that first. Yes, the questions will follow.
Interesting, interesting, very interesting, very interesting.
Maybe seeing she is already agitated, maybe we can ask her to take a deep breath,
Mm-hmm.
just calm down, and then let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about it.
Okay, all right. Mm-hmm. Yes, Milind?
You talked about all the effects, but what is the cause? Have you done any some root cause analysis or something like this, that what caused this team to underperform?
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Okay, let
So
me,
what I feel
yes.
is many a times as a coach, we shouldn't be like waiting to coach them already. The first aspect of coaching is listen to what they have to say. You know, it's more about 90% of your time in listening, and then maybe 10% of your time in trying to solve their problems. That should always be the mantra behind coaching, is what I feel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Interesting, interesting, Kiran. Thank you so much. All of you, thank you so much for engaging yourself in this. There is one thing which I would like also to add, which is very important, and I would like to put it this way. When a friend comes to you, just a friend comes to you, just a friend comes to you, at that time, what is the first thing which happens?
Hey, how are you?
How are you
Yeah,
doing?
how do you do? Okay, all right, what else?
You welcome him.
You welcome him. What happens when you welcome him?
He will reciprocate.
You will reciprocate, and reciprocate in what way specifically?
Smiling.
Engage.
Smiling or shake hand. And what category of these systems in our processes this smiling and shake hands comes in? Verbals, non-verbals?
It's
Non-verbal
non-verbals.
communication.
Non-verbals, exactly, right. And how we coaches want to directly jump on verbal communication.
No, first it will start with the non-verbal.
70% is non-verbal, only 30%
Yeah.
Interesting. So how would you, now let's go to the next step. How would you like to have utilization of a non-verbal communication to have an influence in the language? What would you do?
body gestures, your open body language,
Okay, all right.
eye contact,
Uh-huh.
nodding of the head.
Okay, what else? Yes, Hiren, absolutely. There is a little more deeper insight which I would like to share with all of you. Let me share. In Portugal, when we were there, there was one of the person who wanted to share something very, very difficult situation. And when he started sharing, it was outside the main room where we were getting trained with Dr. John Grinder, and it was outside the room. And suddenly he got in so fast speed of talking about the problem, and then he's so much into it that he started actually moving his hands. Do you see that? There's so much of it, there's so much of it, there's so much of it, there's so much of it.
Yeah, you can sense that. You can sense the temperature.
I'm sorry, Hiren?
You can sense the temperature.
You can sense the movement of the body, the way the movement of the body is, and you calibrate the change in the temperature of the body of the person. And the very first thing one of the coaches, very senior coaches, did is he did not ask a question. very senior, approximately 25 years of experience with John, been working a lot, and he didn't ask a question. He did a very non-verbal, without the knowing of the other person, he did a very small micro muscle movement of that fast movement which the person was doing, and he was doing this fast movement from his left hand down, moving his left hand. The very first aspect of coaching in non-verbal is to be able to calibrate before you actually move into the questions, whether it is environment, whether it is a problem, whether it is productivity, whether it is organizational. The very, very first thing for you as a coach is you to be into state, which is, I was into that state while I was observing that, well, he was in the state while he was doing that, and he started just doing what the person was actually doing. I'll give you one more example. I met with one of the organizational, the OD, consultant in one of the companies, and we were discussing about some of the problems of the company in the teams. And while he started discussing about the problems, and he was saying the team is not doing good, and then there's a problem, etc., etc. What I did was I was sitting on the other side of his chair, and I was only doing a very simple micro muscle movement of his hands to what he was doing. Have you ever wondered that that conversation, the time which was given by that party to me was just 20 minutes. He had no time to discuss, but that conversation lasted for 1.5 hours in Chennai, and we both really remember that. The very first step in that meeting was just to match in the sync, like dancing. For example, when you meet an unknown person, have you ever wondered in an unknown area, unknown place, you are dancing with the person without even knowing the person? Has it ever happened with any one of you? You're dancing with the person without knowing the person's name, and you're just doing like that, yeah, right? And you do remember that person whenever you would meet later.
It depends actually. Then if the environment is surrounding it like that, then probably yes.
Exactly. It also depends on, so the surroundings outside, Dilip, you're absolutely right. The surrounding outside is an internal effect to the coach state. I repeat, this is called cause and effect and patterns. The surrounding, which is outside, is going to affect the coach inside. That's called coaching state. So the very first thing in language patterns is no talking. I'm not here to talk. I'm not here to question. My job is to continuously match the micro movements of the body and the rhythm of the person. And next move, which you all were doing, was asking the question. Now, let's go back to one simple thing. When I say, oh, there is so much of less productivity, the team is not working, there's so much of less productivity, what specific question, assuming that you have a coach state, assuming that you have built a micro muscle movement with each other, like right now, you can look at one person here and keep matching with the person continuously. Like for example, here it is. Let's take an example of you and me sitting together over here, and I'm asking a question and I want you to answer in the same rhythm. Let's just get into it. John says the more you practice, the more you actually experience and understand. So I'm asking a question to all of you. The team is not working at all. I'm giving a statement. The team is not working at all. It's not working at all. How would you respond to this? Matching my rhythms. Anyone? Can you try?
Tell me more about it.
Okay.
Could you tell me more about it?
Okay. Okay, so hear me out again. I would like you to match what I am saying in my vocals, in my tonality. Okay?
What happened?
I
Okay.
would like to know.
Okay. What have you tried?
Okay. All right. So I repeat this. Step number 1, all of you. Okay. The very first thing I would like you all to do is shake off your bodies. Literally. Literally, yeah. You're carrying a specific judgment about things which is normal and common. That's what happens in John's classes also. I want you to also experience that you have never heard about coaching. Think about this perspective. You don't know anything about it. Just nothing. Okay. All right. You have no idea what coaching is. What I want you to do as a kid, what a kid does. Have you ever observed a kid? Let me talk to you. Enjoys. Okay. Let me talk to you about where language comes from. It is a beautiful story. Exactly, Pratibha. Thank you so much. So a kid, the job of a kid, which is so beautiful, kids and we all are born modelers. Now, what is modeling? When a kid sees your mouth, how does a kid learn language? He sees ma, 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 pa, 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 pa. Does he know this is called mama and papa? And he understands?
No.
Exactly. He doesn't understand anything, literally anything. What he does?
Mimicking.
Just mimicking.
Exactly. He does mimicking. Technically, what it is?
Miming.
Copying.
Imitating. Okay, all right. Start doing it. Okay, exactly match the way anyone else is doing to anyone else's matches, whether it is mine or someone else. Come on. What are you doing?
Copying you.
Yes, and what are you doing? Exactly, Aishwarya. And what are you doing?
I'm
Trying to
you.
mimic you.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And what are you doing?
Trying to
And
be with
follow
you.
you basically.
Follow you.
Okay. And what are you doing?
And communicating with you.
Getting a
Trying
same
to
emotion.
communicate. Yeah, on the same page actually.
Getting a
Interesting.
same emotion.
Making a contact with you.
Yes.
Interesting. Technically, what you're doing is this. Do it
Getting
again.
a same emotion, same feeling.
Okay, so
Holding my lips and trying.
okay, stop giving language to it. I love you all. Stop giving language to it. Now again, go back to it. What are you doing? You are creating a micro muscle tension without your full awareness with your two lips. Technically, this is what you're doing. You're creating a micro muscle tension in your lips without you understanding what does it mean. And then, yes, we are giving meaning to it, which is copying, matching. Then there is an interpretation of copying, matching, which is emotion. Emotion is an interpretation of what happens in the body. For example, let me also give you another example. Interesting, no? One more example.
This is super.
What does it mean to you?
Feeling.
Sorry, yeah, give me more.
No, it's an emotion of something like what happened. Surprising. It's surprise.
Anyone else? One more.
Excited moment. Just making a shape with your lips, probably.
Fantastic, Shayaja. Yeah. So one is I am surprised, I am curious, I am shocked, I am happy, I am sad, whatever. Now notice these set of words. These are called set of words. These come under a set of words. Okay. And technically it comes under the first axis of transformational grammar. It is a meaning of what you see.
Correct.
It is direct meaning of visual perceptive of what your optical nerve is seeing, my dear. What your optical nerve is seeing. And step number 2, it is a meaning of the meaning itself. Means I have seen, how do I know this is called surprise? I have seen someone like this before. And I heard in English vocabulary that this is equal to surprise. And hence I am interpretation that is equal to surprise. However, if I go to different countries, this might mean something else also. How do I know what I am doing? So interesting part in language to all coaches. One simple thing which I would like all of you to take away is stop doing mind reading to your coaches. I repeat, mind reading. Stop doing mind reading. The moment the coachee comes in, oh my God, there is a problem. What is he doing? Oh my God, there is a problem. Tell me, what is he doing now? Oh my God, there is a problem. There's a huge problem.
Creating sense of urgency.
Okay, so that is an interpretation of what I see and I interpret in language, which is available to my vocabulary. Again, oh, there's a problem. What is he doing? Exactly.
Creating a sense of urgency.
Okay,
nervous,
so
little bit nervous on that front.
okay, all right.
Shaking hands.
Moving his hands, shaking his hands.
Shaking his hands, exactly. There's a specific speed in which the person is shaking his hand. There is a face which is also getting moved. There is a breathing which is getting changed. There is a fast rate of speech. Now, what does it mean? I have no idea what does it mean. Do I know as a coach? Exactly. So how do I know it is grabbing attention? According to whom?
According to our judgment.
Exactly. According to my judgment. Where is the judgment coming from?
Our own mindset.
Experiences.
My experiences. Yes. Where is this experience kept in the brain? Somewhere, exactly. I don't know where, somewhere. In my neurological process, the moment I see, I hear, I feel, I smell, I touch, I directly give a meaning to what I see, hear, feel, and touch.
Yeah.
And if I, as a coach, would start doing that, now think about what can happen. I'll give you now a very classic.
To be subconsciously alert.
Yes, Hiren. So let me put it this way. Again, linguistics.
Yeah.
I have to be subconsciously alert, or I want to develop a system in me as a coach who is focusing on description at the body level rather than giving a meaning to what is happening.
Not being judgmental, but just having power of observation.
Yes, observing. And observing what specifically? Everyone, observing what specifically?
Body, muscle movement.
Yeah.
Non-verbal.
The non-verbals, complete non-verbals. And do you know what? The non-verbals doesn't mean only hands.
Everything.
Everything, like for an example?
Our face expressions also, what we have, how we are, and our everything in our body, how it is the person is reacting. Body language, we can say. Every part of the body.
Oh my God, this is exciting.
Yes. All this makes combination of the things.
Okay, interesting. And
Ridhima, not even not seeing anything is also a
exactly
input.
Exactly. And what else comes in body language, which you're talking about, the non-verbals? It's something which is very important, which I want to give to you.
Expressions.
Expressions, yes. The eyes, the lips, yes. The jaw up or jaw down, yes.
And tone also.
The tonality, yes, yes. A little deeper than what you have heard. The tonality, the body language, a little deeper. Okay, Girija is our
connection
student. She's
comes
opening.
in from the body language, actually.
Okay, so connection comes in, Aishwarya, absolutely right. The connection comes in from the body language is a meaning, Aishwarya. I connect with you because you mentioned the same word.
Yes.
How can I connect with someone in a subconscious plane?
Yes, I'm coming to that.
I don't have any telepathy with that person, right?
Yes, there is no need to have a telepathy. You're absolutely right. There is no need to have a telepathy. You're absolutely right. The only thing which I'm observing, let me answer what I was gifting you, and then I'll come back to your question. The only thing which you are gifting, which I'm gifting to all of you as non-verbals, is observe 2 or 3 basic things. Have you ever observed the skin color changing of people when they come and talk to you?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
If you're nervous, then you'll become
Very
ready.
different, very different. Have you ever observed the temperature of the skin, which also changes with the color of the skin, which is very, very different? Have you ever observed with this, any of it could be either breathing changes and color changes and breathing changes. And your job is to, at a deeper level, linguistically, internally calibrate what's happening. That's step number one. Now let me go into more details. Would you like to have one more gift from my side as a language pattern challenge? So let me ask you this. I really need to get the work done from the team. Have you ever heard this word sentence?
Daily.
I really interesting.
Yes.
I really need to get the work done. I should be on time to my office. I have to really complete this work, otherwise things will go XY. What is common in these sentences which I am saying?
Pressure.
Beautiful. Description level, there's a pressure. Absolutely. Right. What is common in linguistic level, which is language level?
Assertive, being
Aggressive.
Assertive.
assertive.
Commanding.
Okay, all right. So again, I go back to the moment I say I have to do this, or I should do this, or I need to do this, and I am giving a meaning to it that this is commanding, it is according to whom?
It's my perception.
Exactly.
My judgment.
The pitch is quite high. There is a pressure in which the person is speaking, yes. And there is a common term which is used. Let me introduce you to Milton Erickson. All of you, if you really want to get more deeper into the processes of language, Milton Erickson was the guy in Phoenix, Arizona, no more now. He has done a beautiful work in psychotherapy and doing change work with change agents. And the kind of learnings which he had in his office was tremendous. By the way, he was 2 times paralyzed. His body couldn't move fully. He was in a wheelchair. He couldn't see anything else apart from purple. But the kind of challenges and languages which he used to use was magical. And people from the University of California were sent to him to find out that why is this guy so magician? But everyone came back and said, he's a magician. How is he doing the magic is important, isn't it? How was he doing the magic? And that is what Dr. John and Richard find out. In fact, when I was telling you all that we all are modelers, and as a kid, what we do is we model our language without knowing that we are modeling the language. How do you learn native language without going to school? Because you're putting pressure different ways in different styles, and you're doing a trial and error of micro muscle movements inside your body continuously without thinking what you're doing. You don't think you don't think at all about it. That's what Dr. John and Richard actually did. That's what actually they did. Let me show you the pictures of Dr. John and Richard and Milton Erickson for you to have a little idea of these faces which I'm talking. And that's very interesting for you all. This is Milton Erickson. I'll just move it here for all of you to be able to see. This is Dr. John Grinder. This is Frank Puselek. This is Richard Bandler. They all came together in 1972 to study language the way Milton Erickson, Virginia Satir, and Fritz Perls used to do change work with their clients. And that's not all. What Dr. John and Richard and Frank did was they actually were there in his office for a year and going back and forth to model him unconsciously matching his micro muscle movements and the tensions and all that and coming back and practicing with you all as coaches. Again, going back and practicing the micro muscle movements, again going back and doing it. Again, going back and practicing the micro muscle, again coming back and doing it without the interpretations. I repeat, without the interpretations, no understanding. And that's the way the model actually works. However, of course, you are at a level where you can choose to model, and then you can choose to use your cognitive mind and combine it together to represent it to your companies, to the way you do coaching. Now, the process which I was asking you all is, I need to, I should, I have to. And when Milton Erickson was there and Dr. John did a lot of work with Milton Erickson, and he identified, he decoded that Milton Erickson asked questions on specific patterns. So there are 13 meta model language patterns with which we can identify where the client or where your organizational team is actually getting stuck. Now go for it again. The team is always doing this only. The team is never aligned. The team is no way going to get this at all. Do you hear some of the common patterns? I repeat, the team is never going to do this. The team is always doing this. The team is all the time non-aligned. What is common in the sentence?
No.
Hopelessness.
No trust.
Okay.
Negativity.
Right.
Yeah, negativity.
Disappointment.
Okay, I understand.
But you are again making us do the same thing, right? you are again putting situations where we are judging, and we should not be doing that, right?
Mm-hmm. And what can we do?
As
We have to
you said,
observe the body language
mimic.
model. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can match the body and physiology and tonality.
Correct.
And the next step, which they decoded, was, so Milton Erickson was a master in coaching all of you. There's still studies. It's been 100 years, like 1970 to 2023. It's been quite long years. And we were discussing, John, Michael, and Carmen, we were discussing that they have collectively 100 years of experience in coaching. That's the kind of work which I'm talking about. So what do they do? You know what? I'll give you many examples of organizational coaching. What do they do is they focus on descriptions. I repeat, focus on descriptions, number one. Number two, focus on the pattern. The pattern in this language is never, always, all the time, everyone, no one. Now think about if the person coming to you, maybe it is a CEO. Okay, so I have done coaching with CEOs and it is interesting. Oh, the way I challenge them is quite different the way things are. So the person comes to me and says, every time they're just doing like this. Every time? Has it ever happened that they haven't done it before? Are there times when they have been doing it? Exactly the same kind of nod head starts coming. And you have given me a calibration that there is a data point in which they haven't done like this. And I go to the next. Okay, the next question. So I'm matching continuously to what you just did, some of you, and you didn't get to know that I'm doing that. And the next thing was, what was happening then? What kind of states the clients or the team were? Oh, they were so open, there was this, there was that, blah, 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 blah. And in a minute, this is called expansions of maps. And in just few minutes, just even 5 minutes, I have found out matching. I find out the pattern in language which is stuck, and I have challenged the stuck pattern, not anything else. I have not asked why you're thinking this way. I have not judged you that you are thinking negative, oh, this is bad, etc., etc. I'm just going to pick up the pattern which you give it to me and roll it back to you. Interesting?
Interesting. What is that expansion that you just described?
Yes. Now let's play it. Give me examples of I never do this, I never do that. Give me any example. Give me one example.
never smoke.
You never smoke. Would you like to?
I don't think.
Just
Yes,
kidding.
it's
Out of it. Interesting. Thank you. I really enjoy that conversation. I never smoke. Well, very interesting. Never?
Ever.
Are there times where you have seen someone or you have done it before?
Yeah, many of my friends.
Interesting. So when you were saying that I have never, and when I ask you that have you done it before, you go back to your so fast in your neurological process without your awareness, and you went back and picked up an experience. My boss is always angry. Simple one. A lot of people come to you for coaching on this. My boss is always angry. He's not going to give me an appraisal this year at all. How will you challenge this now?
At times at times you need to find when he is happy. It is every time he is unhappy.
Interesting. So may I go ahead and give you a little changes over there, Shweta? Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So when I say that, is there any time when he's happy or unhappy? I am saying my boss is never going to give me appraisal. My language, my sentence is never, which is a model operator linguistically, and appraisal, and appraise is a verb. However, we are giving a specific emotion word, which is an interpretation, and happy or unhappy. Because I feel that when my boss, because who feels? Because who feels?
Unhappy.
I feel, yes. Me as a coach, I feel that if he will be happy, he would be giving me. There is another pattern over there. So my job, I again repeat, it's quite interesting and quite deeper. My job as a coach, I'll keep it more simpler for all of you. My job as a coach is to identify the pattern, number one. In this, we are identifying one pattern universal quantifier and challenging the universal quantifier. Now, how would you keep the same word? My boss is never going to give me appraisal. So, example, never. Are there times when you have received appraisal? I repeat, my question is, are there times when you have received appraisal? Now, what is happening in this question?
As you said before, you're not turning, but
You're trying to
getting
validate your assumptions about the pattern, whether this is indeed a pattern or not.
Okay, what else?
You have sent that person back into thinking and searching for a specific incident where it has happened.
Yes, and it has happened with whom specifically?
Yourself.
With the coachee.
Yeah,
with the person whom I'm coaching. When I'm saying never, and I am not saying, now focus, I am not saying, are there times when your boss has given you appraisal? That's one question. Did I say that? I didn't say that.
You just repeated that model, what you were talking about, that never. You just made a question out of.
Okay, I repeat, there is something which I want all of you to notice this. Never. Now, one way to a question is, never has it ever happened that your boss has given you appraisal? Yeah, part one, all with me on that?
Yeah.
Part one. Part two, never. Has it ever happened? Has it ever happened that you have received appraisal? Boss has given, you have received. What's the difference in this sentence?
Have been appreciated.
Have you ever taken his feedback? Have you ever tried to understand your boss' perspective?
Okay, my dear, thank you so much. My question is different. My question is,
they're trying to mimic or put it in the same way the coachee has said.
It's judging about ourselves, not it's sort of not
the
a
both
judgment,
but
okay,
it's
I'm going to
connecting with ourselves.
All right, people, People take a deep breath. There is something very deep. What you are doing continuously, you're getting into the interpretations. That's a
Yes.
continuous process you're following. And I request all of you to, I know this is quite new, and that is what I've been challenged for 7 years now. So I understand completely. This is normal, absolutely normal. And I'm here to challenge you a little so that you learn differently. Is that okay?
Yes.
Do I have a buy-in from all of you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you. Let me just type the question. I said never. Now, has it ever happened with you that your boss has given appraisal? Second question, has it ever happened with you that you have received appraisal? Now, visually, you can see this. And now just read out these 2 questions to your own self. Yes, Ajinkya?
So the first one talks about, has your boss ever given any appraisal to anyone? And the second talks about, have you ever got an appraisal from any of your bosses before?
Okay, quite close. Yes.
So you're shifting the focus from boss to the person you are talking to?
Exactly, Palak. Thank you so much. And this is called cause and effect. My boss is an external cause of me having an internal effect that I am not receiving an appraisal. The moment you say that, has it ever happened that your boss has given an appraisal, you are again giving the control to the other person, the external person. And your job in coaching is to identify what the person can do internally and find and navigate his own resources. What can I do? And when you ask a question, has it ever happened that, now focus, you have received? What happens when you receive? Intuitively, what happens when you receive? I received.
You
So
get
the
something.
focus shift back to me.
Exactly. Yes. And I received it before. I'm happy that I did receive it before. Or I could not. Also, in both cases, you are shifting the focus internally and not externally. So third thing, whenever you're asking a question to the client, your client's question are inwards first. Inwards first. Inwards first. Whenever the client comes in common patterns. One of the pattern you learned is universal quantifier. I'll show you that so that you can learn it in a visual format also, so that your memory would remember this. One of the pattern which you learned is universal quantifier. Now, universal quantifier patterns are patterns which is, for example, having words like always, everyone, no one, never. Now, the moment you ask a question, never, has it ever happened that it has been done before? Has it ever happened that it has happened before? Has it ever happened that you have done that before? The moment you ask, you're shifting the focus of the person to something else. Now, the moment you shift the focus, that is what called expansions of the maps. The moment I ask you, have you received this? Have you done that? What would happen to you? You would go into the file in your brain which actually has that experience, and you will start finding out how you did. That's called, you're expanding the map internally to me, and I start changing. And your job now as a coach again is no questions, observe again what's happening to his body. He came to you with a problem with his hand movements like this. When you asked a question, his hands went like, and he shifted himself neurologically. And your job as a coach is to focus on descriptions so that you can find out the pattern which is stuck, so that you can challenge. Another pattern, for example, for all of you in this is model operators. People come to you and say, I must do this, I should do this, I need to do this, I have to do this, I have to really do this. It's not going to work if it is not happening. And my challenge is, what would happen if you want, and what would happen if you want to do it? Now, let me ask you all. This is the second one. I'm just closing the screen for you all. Let me ask you all. What would happen if I ask you, what would happen if you want to do it? Do you want to? I need to get this done. Think about it internally. I need to get this done. I need to get this done. I need to get this done. Some of you were telling me that there's a pressure in the body. You actually feel there's so much of pressure about doing things. Now, notice if I say, do you want to? I want to.
Choice, now we have choice.
Fantastic. Lovely. Again, the word choice in language is called nominalizer. So your job as a coach is give the client a choice whether he really wants to, or it's from the force, which is an interpretation again. And then you're giving a choice, which is facilitating a process to give it back to the client, not to you. Because
what if they say yes, I want to? What happens then?
Okay, what would happen then? You tell me.
I don't know. I'm just asking you.
Interesting. So if I ask you, do you want to? I'm sorry. Can I just take a minute? Jarvis, is that Jarvis?
Yes.
Hi.
Yes, Jarvis.
Jarvis. Hi.
Hello. So, yeah, in regards to your question, right? What if you ask them this question, do you want to? And just like the other person said, and they say yes, but the yes is not because they really want to, it's because of the pressure that is coming down on them, and they're looking at the risks of losing something or gaining something.
Absolutely right. And I would like to add on to what you're mentioning is this. My job as a coach, the next gift to all of you is able to calibrate whether my coachee is congruent or not. The body in which or through which he is communicating to you, the body would tell you, you will calibrate with the speech, with the breathing, with the color, with the change, that the client really take the responsibility and he's congruent. And if you tell me that I want to, if you ask me, okay, I want to, now tell me if any question in this, I want to really do the gymming. Now observe, I want to really do the gymming, which I'm very fond of. You all can come in Pimpile Sudagar, Pune, and we can join the hands together. Today was my back day. All right. So I really want to do gymming. What did you notice? You've been hearing me from a long time.
Eagerness kind of a things. Or
is it really there?
Really? It's a pattern, or really a word, want, something like
Interesting. That. Okay, what else? You've been hearing Ridhima from last an hour, right? Now Ridhima is. Let me just complete this question to all of you, and then you can answer. It's interesting, no? You're listening, and then I'm asking. I'm telling you, I really want to join the gym. Am I congruent?
Can you come again, please?
I don't know the meaning of congruent.
Okay, all right. Let me explain that then first. When you say that you are really happy, are you really happy? A simple example. And when you say that you really happy,
Yeah, there's the difference in the expression of your face. One
Words are
tells us
giving you away.
actually you are happy,
Are
and one
you
tells that
really
yes, it
ill?
is. It's
What you are
okay.
saying?
Exactly,
Yes.
Sudarshan, right.
Or your body is giving away.
You're really in something.
Yes.
What you're saying, yes. And my question is, I'm telling you, you're not going to judge your client. You're not judging your client.
But
Then
you're
how would
observing
you?
your client. But you're observing.
Absolutely. So when I came into you, look, hear my voice pitch. My voice pitch is like this. This is my voice pitch. And my head is above, my chin is above. When I'm telling you about something. And then I'm telling you, I really want to go to gym.
It's not your choice, basically, somewhere.
I don't know whether it is a choice or no. That's an interpretation. However, what is the difference between calibrations of data point 1 and data point 2? Cognitive.
Less
Not matching.
You're not congruent in this case.
Okay, all right. I repeat my question. What is the difference between calibration data point 1, which is the face, the voice, versus the calibration data point another, which is the face and the voice?
Okay.
One is matching, another is not matching.
Yes.
Yeah, there is no agreement between there is no agreement from your wordings and your facial expression.
Interesting. Yes. So in one voice, let me put it this way more cleanly for all of you. In one voice, the voice is at this pitch. At this pitch. At this pitch. You hear me?
Yes.
And the second voice is at this pitch.
Yes.
There is a difference in the pitch. Now, your job as a coach is, of course, not to label that the person wants to do or not wants to do. Your job is to identify what is stopping the person to do. So you would go and say, okay, all right, you want to, interesting. What would you need as resources for you to have to do? Because you have already identified that there is incongruency. Means there is no match. However, you're not identifying as a coach that he's not going to do. You are channelizing the coachee
You're
towards.
not taking any conclusion, but you're just trying to expand further.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. And now let me tell you, what are you expanding? So, simple example, look around your room where you're sitting. Look around your room where you're sitting, all of you. Look around things around you. Nice. Take a couple of deep breaths. If you want to close your eyes, you can, of course. It's a choice you can make. Nice. And as you take a deep breath, internally, whatever color you want to focus on, just say, I would like to focus on X color, whatever color. Here, I would like to focus on red or yellow or orange or green or beige or whatever. Say that internally first and slowly open your eyes and very slowly start observing in the room. Very, very slowly start observing in the room. There were things with that color and your focus is on that color more than any other thing. Happened?
Yes.
Could you identify the difference? This simple process neurologically is called deletion. We as human and organizational team discussions, teams are also human. Individuals have a very specific way of storing memory. Okay, so even if my boss has done very good in the last 2 months later before, but my boss has recently not done very well, my brain just deletes all the information, and either it creates a visual, either it creates a sound, or a combination of a feeling inside my neurological process that I delete everything. Now, deletion is good, of course, but then we individuals as humans delete something which is good. Like if my friend has done 10 times good, but one time was a very big scenario and he was not doing good, what happens to you? Your friend has done good for 9 times. One time he has not done good. And that was really, really not liked by you. Common scenario?
You'll remember only the bad thing, not
Sometimes
always.
yes,
Yeah.
sometimes yes, sometimes maybe. And that's what happens in the teams when you are coaching teams. Teams deletes information which was connected to themselves just 6 months back, just 3 months back. They delete, and the deletion is very fast, because in a second, right now also while you're all sitting, 11 million bits of information is running per second. That's the kind of data which you can actually have in your brain. So deletion is normal. And then you generalize, this person, my boss is like that. So what we say is, while you're challenging these patterns, your job is to challenge the deletion or a generalization. So universal quantifier, everyone, no one, always, never, is a deletion or generalization. I'm generalizing one particular event. He's always like that. When I'm deleting a choice, like, do I really want to, or I have to? I'm deleting a choice. Now, like this, there are 13 patterns. Now you give me one sentence. Let's play around now. Okay. You give me one sentence and I will identify the pattern and I will tell you which pattern it is, so that you will learn it that way and you will learn with more experiences. So give me one example, just one sentence on the chat box itself, all of you. Give me one example of any sentence and we will identify which pattern is the sentences. We together as a team.
I like my mother.
I like my mother. All right, nice. She doesn't like me. Okay, interesting. So now, you know what? This pattern, she doesn't like me, he doesn't like me. I'll take that one, and then I'll take a today is a busy day. Oh, fantastic. I would love identifying. Okay, let me take a simpler one for all of you. He doesn't like me. You've heard it multiple times. She doesn't like me, he doesn't like me. Yeah. This pattern is called mind reading. So it's basically a pattern in which I'm assuming, I'm making a judgment based on whatever has happened as an experience that this person doesn't like me. Now, how do you challenge as a coach? How do you make it simpler for your coaching?
How do you know?
Fantastic. Yes. This
What
is a
you liked
specifier.
before?
I'm sorry?
What you liked before? What you liked before?
What you liked before? Okay, all right. Now there are two
What makes
things.
you think so?
Okay, so there are two things which can happen. Let's discuss just these 3 questions. Okay, one. When I say what makes you think so, what will happen? Generally, come on. Generally, what will happen?
Reaffirmation of the
The
previous.
person will start defending themselves.
Yes, yes. There could be that, there could be this, or in language of coaching, the coachee will start giving you a full story about what happened, what didn't happen, blah, 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 and judging, not judging, X, Y, Z, and all over the place. Now, if you are a great coach and you have, great capabilities to quickly sort those patterns, great. Otherwise, you can directly ask on the question, how do you know? Now, what would happen if I ask a question, how do you know?
He will give X number of reasons.
Give me one simple reason. How do you know?
Yeah, he behaves with me badly, and with others he behaves very friendly way, or he doesn't behave me with.
Okay, so now there is a verb there. How does he behave specifically with you?
Yes.
Okay, so he behaves.
Other way around, probably I need to rethink that whether whatever statements I have given it correct, or probably I need to revisit.
I did not completely understand what you mean?
Okay.
Can you
maybe I can think whether the statement I have given in the first place is correct, or probably it leads me to think twice.
Yes, as a coachee, yes, absolutely correct. And when she says that he has behaved with me badly, what is there in the pattern in language? So this pattern, all of you, patterns. This pattern has a cause and effect. I have a cause and effect there very clearly. Think about it. He behaves with me badly. Behave is a verb,
Yes.
right? You can behave the way you want to behave. How do I take it badly is my own internal feelings, not yours, isn't it?
Yes.
Like, for example, John Grinder has utilized this example of saying in one of the classes in 90s, and he mentions it's quite weird, okay, and that's the way we learn different things. And he mentions, can you insult me? Okay, all right.
Not without my consent.
I'll break the ice. Yeah, Hiren sir?
No, not without my or your consent.
Exactly. Until I participate in that process which is happening and I allow those internal effects to happen, it won't happen. Absolutely. And that's why it is called cause and effect. So there is a cause which the person is behaving this way. How specifically is he behaving? Or second challenge, how do you choose to feel badly about it? Now, question, you have asked a question. What's your intention of asking this question? Or any question for that matter? I'll go back to other examples also. What's the intention of asking this question? How do you choose to feel badly? How does this guy behave with you? Both of the questions. What's the intention of the question?
To understand more about the problem that is being talked about.
Okay, all right. Let's go a little more deeper. I completely agree that we are understanding the problem. However, what could be my...
Our focus is on the coaching, not the problem, right?
Thank you for shifting it. Yes. And what are you trying to do? Yes, what are you doing?
We have a foundation that you can be informed.
I couldn't hear someone talking. Yes, Jarvis, go ahead.
I don't know if what I want to say is correct, but I think you're trying to find to identify the effect of that person, feeling bad or feeling the way they feel.
Absolutely. And the effect is internal. So my job as a coach is to not collect content. All of you. There is a difference between content coaching and process coaching. Have you ever heard about this? A content coaching and process coaching. A content coaching is I will get into the story and I will give my own definition of how the boss behaves. However, a process coaching is that how the person feels internally about the whole thing which is happening, and I expand the maps for the person. Okay, what else can you feel? What else can you do about it? What are the things which you have in your hand? Not getting into content coaching. Let me go into another example for content coaching. It's a very serious example. I would like you all to keep this example with you. There is a man who came in, and in fact, two very serious examples. There's a man who came in and he said that I got so finicky that I keep a knife in my bag always to protect myself. And I was just feeling like to take out the knife in that place and just do something. There was one person who really helped me, but I couldn't see anything else out of it. How would you handle this? This happened recently today morning. The shift happened in 15 minutes. Tell me, how would you handle it? Very, very difficult situation, right? But there's so much to learn in that. Come on.
Person is not agitated here, but is feeling very insecure, unsafe, or maybe vengeful, maybe vindictive. No, these are again could be my judgmental things.
I love the way you're calibrating me. You're actually calibrating me. That this might I might say this. Okay, yes, there is a judgment there. Yes, absolutely, you're right. Yes, yes, he is in a situation in a unresourceful state. How would you do? What would you do there?
I think I will want to identify.
Identify what specifically?
Yeah, I think I want to identify the different scenarios in which this person feels unsafe and have to carry a knife. Does it happen often or always? If it happens always, what are you usually doing that, causes you to feel you are not safe?
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you so much for adding what you're saying. There is a different perspective with which we can look at this from language patterns. He mentioned that I couldn't see anything else. I repeat, and I write, I couldn't see anything else. Sorry. I couldn't see anything else. There is a pattern of seeing. The person, like right now, you all were sitting in the same chair, same couch, and you were in the same room. When I asked you to look at the other color, your map expanded and you could see different. Clear? Right? At that point, in that context, at that time, the full nervous system actually was closed and he could not visually see anything else. Means he was presupposition. There is something called in language, in coaching, is presupposition. There's a presupposition. Presupposition means something which is already assumed. Like when I went to Europe alone, and I said that, which is, I never say it now, that being a woman and having a child of just 3 years, I traveled alone, blah, 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 etc. There's a presupposition that a woman cannot travel alone. You understand? So there
It's
are
a kind of a prejudice.
yes, there are hidden presuppositions of whatever we say. These are hidden presuppositions. Men are like this, women are like this, managers are like this, teams are like this, organizations are like this, coaching is like this. These are presuppositions, and we're moving away from presuppositions. So let me go back. When I say I couldn't see anything else, what I did, I'll share that with you. It might help you. What I did was I asked, okay, you cannot see anything else, and I'm using a conjunction. And there is something which you could see. I'm repeating his sentence. Anything, reverse something. See matches see. And there is something which you could see. And as you could see, what you could see, which was not so helpful to you, this is a pattern of Milton. These are called transcripts which I'm using. And wherever you see, you turn it around and push it away first. I literally did this process just in the evening, so I'm sharing with all of you. You literally put that away from you. He was on the call, we had a rapport, I was in my state, and he mentioned, and I asked, have you put that? And I asked, okay, now put that more and more away from your peripheral vision, as if you see, but you really, 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 really not see at all. In your peripheral, it's not there, but it's just somewhere there. And you decrease the size of whatever it was and turn around. And then I asked, what do you see when you turn around? That's my dog. And he said, I see a plant. Do you know what I did with the plant? Do you want to know what I did with the plant? And as you see the plant over there, what do you see? He mentioned, he see one part of the plant which has leaves. There's a other side of the plant which doesn't have many leaves. And I said, exactly. There is a plant and the plant has leaves, and there is another side which doesn't. The leaves are big or small, big or small, or a different size, or a different color, or a different shape. There are some which is brighter, and there are some which is not. And the some which is not, the things, the leaves, which doesn't belong to the plant has a natural ability and make a choice to shred it, and then slowly and slowly the new sprout on that branch comes, and it takes its own beautiful way naturally to come in its own new shape and color. And a new different leaves can be just there. Did you notice that your focus has shifted from the knife to the leaves? Fully, differently.
Completely forgotten.
This is an isomorphic metaphor which I utilized, which I learned through Milton model and through John Grinder, of course. And the intention, what I'm presenting to all of you is this. In the organizational coaching, I do coaching interventions with the corporates, and I do individual coachings. Anytime and every time I'm using a universal quantifier, the clients are presenting you information based on what they see, hear, and feel, isn't it? They're perceptive. And remember, whatever in language they're presenting is their map of the world which exists. I repeat, whatever in language they're presenting is their map of the world, not the world. Not the world. Their map of the world.
How they perceive actually the world.
How they perceive, exactly. And your job as a coach is to expand their maps by challenging their own patterns very subtly, of course. You have your coach state, you build rapport, you check calibration all the time, you match, and then you identify which meta, these are called meta forms, by the way. I've been taking you through 13 meta forms and some of the 26 Milton model. I'm not opening it. We take 6 months to teach you. So relax there. I just shared some of them. So your job as a coach is to also identify which language pattern is stuck and what question to ask. If we go back to this recording itself and you hear all of you were asking different questions. What's happening in the environment? How is your boss behaving? What's happening in the team? Where is it right now, etc. Different questions. My request is, how can we as coaches develop that kind of system which is more process-oriented language challenges and calibrate as well? And then you would form different questions in different styles in different ways depending on what the client produces. And all the time, let me gift you one more thing. I always say this, all the time, your client is gifting you gold. I repeat, your clients gift you gold. Your job as a coach is to turn around the gold. That's what actually language patterns can do. I am open for more coaching conversations and questions. Yes, please raise your hands in the electronic hand so that we can have more conversations. Yes, Ajinkya, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Ridhima. You have opened so much of Pandora's box now and so much to unlearn. So for the first, I meant to ask from the start of our conversation. I think you talked about this repeating the body gestures like this hand. I don't remember that, but wouldn't sometime it come off as being very cheeky about it, or you understand what I mean?
I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Disrespectful, or
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So about cheeky, could be yes, could be no. I don't know about that, but yes, definitely.
I mean, maybe wrong choice of word, but disrespectful.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So one thing which I have learned from John, Ajinkya, and all of you, and this is a very good question. What we train or what we teach is micro muscle movement, wherein you don't know what I'm doing, but I'm continuously building and matching with you, but you didn't come to know that.
So the nods, yeah.
Could be, okay, so
but
let
they
me go a
hide.
little more deeper. Let me go a little more deeper. For example, thank you, Hiren. Exactly. So for example, we match, like you make a bigger muscle, you just did that. You went full like this, right?
Yeah.
But I went it very slow. I go very slow. So your job is to do a micro muscle tension in the body in such a way, which is a practice, of course, it requires road time and practice, in such a way that the person doesn't come to know, but it's happening. Okay, so it's very deeper, it's beautiful, it just requires practice. Yes, I do not mean to say that in a corporate environment, if the person is, scratching the head and I start scratching my head, that would definitely look quite different. And the person would
like maybe something like this.
Yeah, maybe, absolutely. Or in fact, let me gift you this. You are doing this. My hand is down. You don't know what I'm doing. My hand, when we scratch, we make a movement over here. Yeah. So my hand is down and I'm making a very small movement without your awareness, and I'm feeling as if there's something happening here, but not doing. That's micro muscle tensions. For example, let's take workout. So are you into also some kind of a walking, gymming, running, or swimming, any kind of sports?
Walking and badminton.
Oh, fantastic. Badminton is a very good example. So there are a couple of things in badminton, all of you, and that is, have you ever seen that in badminton, when you come into a sink, have you observed that the breathing is same? When you are in a sink of playing and not falling, it is not falling, you're sinking into the playing. At the deeper level, the breathing is at the same level. So the breathing has matched. That's one. Second, when I am slowing down, the moment I slow down with that, or with that racket, and suddenly your movement just goes down, happens. Unconscious responsiveness means quite unconscious. Your unconscious responded that this is there. Third example in badminton again, when your coach is teaching you that, push it like that and push it like that and smash it like that, your unconscious is turning your hands while you're learning quite unconsciously. That is micro muscle tensions. Okay, so your job is to play around with the micro muscle tensions, not the macro. Macro is for you to learn. Micro is one which you are going to actually do.
Okay, got it.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for a beautiful question. I can literally give many experiences around this question. Okay, let me go back. I'm not able to see the gallery view. Okay, do we have more questions around language, or you can challenge me? You become your client and you can challenge me, and I'm happy to work on that. I would love doing that also. Any more questions around the languages and the patterns, how you challenge what you challenge? Okay, if there are not, let me, yes, Prajit?
Yeah.
Yes, hi.
No, I was just, people with different emotions, right? So, sometimes people doesn't want to listen to any question, right? So what we are doing here is like we're trying to understand, connect with them. End of the day, each person is different. The gravity or the density or depth of them, we cannot do this through magic, right? But at the same time, I know, of course, you guys are experts. A lot of studies involved. Yeah, but in corporate situations or something wherein people want everything in a fat. In seconds, we need to correct the things, right? They don't give us 6 months to learn a person, take a choice, take a decision. You will be out of the company, right? So that's a different scenario. Yeah, but due respect, the different branch and a lot of studies involved. So just want to say that. I was thinking in my mind whether I should say this or not.
Oh, you can say
You asked
anything
that.
what you want.
Can I add something to
Let
what
me.
Pradeep mentioned?
Sure, go
So I
ahead.
had the same question that as coaches, how can we be psychologists or psychotherapists?
Okay, so
Because
I
we,
would.
we don't get that luxury as to say, right? 6%. I mean, there's a problem, burning problem at hand, right, Pradeep? And then it has to be solved. Give us
Yes.
some solution, and then if you say sit with me with this session, then we'll see the patterns and all that. By
Okay,
the
so
time
there is no need for you. So thank you so much, all of you, opening this. This is important. It is very, very important. You're not sitting with the person and solving the problem. You are supposed to be in the field, like the way Krishna was there in the field with Arjun, and quickly identify what is happening and move. That's your job. That's what I do. So this is your job. Your job is not to say, I always say, I am not going to tell you that you're gonna have at least 6 sessions. No, I don't know. How would I know until I just go with you in literally in the place? Like, I'll give you one example. There was a very serious case about a very serious person in one of the IT companies. He was going for his interview, and this interview was conducted by the embassies for him to get the visa and get in on the roll, etc. Last year, his interview was, in his terms, it was a failure. And he came and he said that I would really like to grow, and my manager has asked me that we really need to fix this, otherwise there is no growth, etc. And I didn't tell him that you have to wait for 6 months or 3 months. What I definitely did is this. I asked him, when is your interview? There was a month which we had. And I asked him, start doing interview with your manager as if the manager is your embassy person. Start talking with him directly, then and there itself. No need to wait. Just then. No need to wait. What's the intention of waiting? So we did that, just 2 or 3, and there was one installation which I did, definitely. So that's my suggestion. Another suggestion, Carmen Bostic, she is, now she is more than 83. She has been in the board of directors for corporates. So I'm talking about a lady who has been in the board of directors of corporates, more than 24 companies. And what she did was this. I'll give you one example. There was a time when there was a boardroom, okay, naturally in corporates, right? And the other side, there were a team of a corporate company, okay? This is a gift. And this side, this was Carmen and John Grinder in US, okay? And suddenly Carmen said, I forgot to bring the page which I was supposed to give it to you all over there. So would you mind if I come and sit along with you? And she moved her chair with their nods approval towards that side. What does it mean in coaching? Do you know what does it mean in coaching? Yes, Sudarshan, go ahead.
Kind of, I am one of you now.
Absolutely, right. The way we play badminton and the breathing comes at the same level. That's the job of a coach, and you are not going to wait for that to happen. Your job is immediate. You're right. You are a corporate coach, your job is immediate. The boss comes and says, they are not doing it. Who specifically not doing? What specifically not doing? How specifically can we do? Right away. And then the boss says, no, they will never agree to this, what you are saying. I understand what you're saying. And can we try X and Y alternatives? And you maintaining the code state. And you're shifting his states. So your job as a coach is to shift state for your coaches very fast. Good, wait. And I would like to also say one thing. We don't require psychology background. I do not have a psychology background. I do have a background of New Code NLP, which is created by Dr. John. I don't have a psychology background, everyone. I come from a corporate culture from 17 years now, and I work with IT companies, Wipro, Infosys, Tech, ITES, you name lot many, L&T. I work with them, I work with their teams, I worked with so many trainings, and I do coaching interventions for them. That's what I do. Yes, ask me more questions, I'm open.
This will work on kids as well.
Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely right. There is a lot actually which I have, like another pattern which we have is a specifier pattern, which we do in corporates. Another pattern which we have is a specifier with paraphrase with intention. That's what we do. So there's a good process. You can learn it over weekends. Take out time, study with us, do coaching with people, do coaching with corporates, and come back and we mentor you for throughout the year. How can you scale up yourself into coaching? So the profile is over there. That's ridhimadua.com as a website. You can definitely go and check out more about it. I would love to be in connect with all of you through LinkedIn in a way where I can keep writing small posts, and you can just pick up as a coach what we are teaching, and you can utilize it.
I just want to have one last question.
Sure.
No, sometimes during similar interventions, we have come to know about something known as transactional. Does it have any kind of a bearing on a relation in kind of, do we really apply something?
Okay. So one thing which I would like to clarify is TA is cognitive. All right. So again, it would go to the question set which we have learned in coaching. My request is a little different. My request is that, why are we asking what are we asking? What sort of question needs to be asked at this moment where the client is? So it's more process oriented. In the TA, it's a child ego, adult ego, all of that, and that's the kind of a story it is. So it's quite different than what I'm talking about.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Most welcome. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed, and I'm thankful a lot. Really a pleasure that you were so much into the conversations and getting it. And I am sorry if in case I offend someone by challenging a lot. That's what we do. We challenge coaches with their linguistic patterns. That's our job. So sometimes it goes a little more overboard. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Dipti, and thank you, Vineet, and the entire community over there.